of change. Start with a review. Of the students in Marco's grade, 9 students have a pet and the other 29 students do not. What is the ratio of the number of students who do not have a pet with the total number of students in Marco's class? Stop the video now and come back when you have your answer. And I'd like your answer to be written in 3 different ways. All right, so we have do not have a pet. Well, that would be 29. And 9 students have a pet, so I add those together and I would get then there's 38 students. One way to write a ratio, the other way is with a colon, and the last way is with the word to. So make sure you know that you can write your ratio 3 different ways. All right, equivalent, ratio equivalent. So go see if you can find the missing number. All right, let's see how you did. I like to write them as fractions. 6 is to 9, as something is to 3. How did I go from 9 to 3? I divided by 3. So 6 divided by 3 is 2. So my 6 is to 9 as 2 is to 3. So 32 to 90 is the same as 16 is to something. How did I go from 32 to 16? I divided by 2. 90 divided by 2 is 45. And the last one, from 24 to 6, I divided by 4. So 72 divided by 4 is 18. All right, so we're going to look at today's proportion. So I want you to write the word proportion. We've been doing this, but we've just been calling them equivalent fractions. But remember, ratios are just relationships. So when you have 2 equal ratios, you have a proportion. So here's an example of a proportion. 18 is to 6 as 3 is to 1. One way we know that is because if I divide by 6, I am changing this proportion to go by 6, and it works on both. Remember, I could check it this way and say this is 18 times 1 is 18. 6 times 3 is also 18. So it is proportional. But what we're going to look at today is the factor of change. So I want you to write factor of change. Factor of change is how much a ratio changes, multiplies, or divides. So if I go back here for a second, for instance, this ratio went down by 6. Let's say I had a picture that was an 18 by 6 and I wanted to make it smaller to fit on my wall. Well, I could reduce it by 6 and get to be a 3 by 1. So factor of change is how much I either enlarge by multiplying or reduce it by dividing. So let's look at a first one here. First of all, I want to know, these are proportional because if I look, that's 16 and that's 16, but I want to know the factor of change. Well, how did I go from 2 to 16? The answer was I times by 8. And 1 times 8 is 8. So yes, they're proportional. And my factor of change would be 8. I got 8 times bigger. That's what you're going to be putting in today. That's what your answer is. I want to know how much they changed. So let's look at these next two. 4 to 2, I went down by 4. Does that work here? Did I go down by 4? The answer is yes, so my factor of change would be 4. In this case, I go down by 15. Is 60 divided by 15 12? The answer is no, it's not. So this one is not proportional, so the answer would be no. It does not have a consistent factor of change. It's not proportional. Let's look at one that you'll be looking at on our next assignments. This one's a little tricky because when you write 12 is to 9 as 20 is to 15, there isn't a nice factor of change. So first though, we have to remember these are fractions. I can reduce this fraction by 3 and get 4/3. Well, what I just did is I reduced it by 3. I made a factor of change. I made it smaller by 3. So now 4 does go to 20 5 times. So in this case, there are 2 factors of change. I went down by 3, and then I went up by 4, and yes, this is proportional. So today you're only going to be doing the kinds that are above this line. We're only going to have 1 factor of change where they're not proportional. Go ahead and start your assignment.